The question you keep asking yourself is quietly running your entire life. You may not hear it out loud, but it loops underneath everything you do. Why does this always happen to me? Why can't I get it together? And every time you ask, something deep inside you obeys. By the end of this, you'll understand why that one habit shapes more of your reality than any goal you've ever set. Here's what almost nobody realizes about the mind beneath your thinking. It doesn't argue. It doesn't filter. It takes the question you hand it and treats it as a direct command to go find an answer. Ask, "Why am I so broke?" and it goes hunting. It returns with evidence. Your bad luck, your lazy habits, that decision you made 3 years ago. It builds an airtight case, and you call that case the truth. But the case was never the truth. It was the answer to the question you asked. Think about what that means for a moment in your own life. The mind is a search engine that never sleeps. Whatever you type into it, it retrieves. Type in a poison, and it serves you poison with stunning efficiency. So the real question becomes this: who's been typing? For most people, the answer is nobody. The questions ask themselves. They run on autopilot, inherited from a frightened younger version of you who learned to scan for what's wrong. That child kept you safe once. Now that same reflex keeps you small. And you've handed it the keyboard for decades without ever checking what it's searching for. So what changes when you take the keyboard back? Everything downstream of it. Consider two people facing the identical setback, the same lost job, the same closed door. The first asks, "Why do I always fail?" Their mind dutifully assembles a highlight reel of every failure, and they sink. The second asks, "What is this teaching me, and where's the opening I haven't seen yet?" Their mind goes searching too, with the exact same obedience. It returns with a lead, a skill, a door slightly ajar, same event, same machinery. The output split entirely on the input. This is the law that runs underneath the law of assumption. Your assumptions are simply the answers you've stopped questioning. And the fastest way to shift an assumption is to ask a better question and let your own mind hand you the proof. Neville Goddard taught that imagination creates reality, that the feeling of the wish fulfilled reshapes your world from the inside. People hear that and try to bully themselves into belief. They strain, they affirm, they white-knuckle a feeling that won't come, and it collapses, because you can't command yourself to believe something while a louder question is quietly searching for reasons it's a lie. Watch how the question slips past the guard at the gate. Tell yourself, "I am wealthy," while your bank account says otherwise, and a part of you scoffs. The claim meets resistance. But ask yourself, softly, what would it feel like if money came to me easily? And there's nothing to push against. A question is an invitation. Your mind accepts it and starts furnishing the room before you've even decided to move in. That's the loophole. The subconscious can reject a statement. It cannot refuse a question. Ask, and it must answer. You felt this without naming it. Think of the last time you lost your keys, and the harder you demanded "Where are they?" the blanker your mind went. Then you gave up, walked away, let something soft play in the room, and the location floated up 10 minutes later. Those are the moments I leave a tune retuning my music to 432 Hz in the background. Link in the description, because that frequency matches the gear your brain drops into when it finally stops clenching. That wasn't luck. The question had been quietly searching the whole time. The same engine that finds the keys finds the evidence for whatever story you keep feeding it. It runs in the dark, patient, literal, and absolutely loyal to the last thing you asked. Now sit with the weight of that, because it cuts both ways. Every time you ask "What's wrong with me?" you're commissioning a study, and the study always finds something. You are not discovering your flaws, you are manufacturing them one loaded question at a time. The harshness you feel toward yourself is a search history. So here's where the real work begins, and it's harder than the affirmation crowd will tell you. Changing your questions takes time. The old ones are groove deep, worn smooth by 10,000 repetitions. They'll fire before you're awake enough to catch them. The discipline is in the noticing. You're walking through your day and you feel the dip, that familiar sinking. Underneath it, almost always, there's a question. Why bother? What's the point? Who am I kidding? The mental diet the old teachers spoke of is about catching the question before your mind fulfills the order. The moment you notice the poison being typed, you reach over and retype it into a direction worth searching. Why am I so behind? Becomes, what's the one move that would put me ahead this week? why does no one respect me, becomes how would I carry myself if I already knew my worth? Feel the difference in your body when you read those. The first pair tightens you. The second pair opens something. That opening is your mind shifting from prosecutor to scout, from building the case against you to scouting the path ahead. This isn't about pasting a smile over a hard day. A better question can be brutally practical. What's the smallest thing I can control right now? Is a better question than, why is everything falling apart? And the answer to the first one is something you can actually do in the next 5 minutes. The mind that searches for the controllable thing finds your hands moving again. The mind that searches for the catastrophe finds you frozen on the couch. The difference between motion and paralysis often comes down to the sentence you asked yourself a moment before. A skeptic listening to this has a fair objection, and it deserves a real answer. Isn't this just tricking myself? Pretending my problems away with cleverer wording? The problems are real. The lost job is real. The empty account is real. But notice what the question determines. Only what your mind goes looking for in response. 2 scouts sent into the same forest find different things depending on what they were told to seek. One finds every predator, the other finds the trail out. The forest stays the same. The search changes, and the search is the only part you'll ever act on. Because that's the hinge nobody mentions. You act on the answer your mind hands you about reality. The man who asks, "What's the opening here?" and finds one, will move toward it. The man who asks, "Why is this hopeless?" and finds his proof will sit down. Same forest, one walks out, one stays. There's an old line, attributed to scripture and repeated by teachers across centuries. Ask and it shall be given. People read it as a cosmic vending machine. Beg the universe, receive the prize, but read it closer. The asking is the mechanism. Whatever you genuinely ask, with attention, with feeling, with repetition, gets answered. The universe inside your own skull is already running this rule on you all day, whether you've chosen the questions or not, so choose them. This is the inner work, and it asks more of you than wishful thinking ever could. Start tonight before sleep, when the mind is soft and the gate is open. Most people end the day with an interrogation. What did I mess up? What am I dreading tomorrow? And the mind, obedient as ever, searches all night and serves it back as anxiety at dawn. Hand it a different assignment. Ask as you drift off, what went right today that I almost missed? What would the version of me I'm becoming do tomorrow? You won't get the answer immediately, that's fine. You've planted the search. Your mind will run it in the background while you sleep, the way it solves a problem you'd given up on, and hands you the solution in the shower. The question is the seed. You let it work. And here's the part that takes patience, the part that separates the people who transform from the people who quit after a week. The old questions will keep coming back. You'll catch yourself mid-spiral, asking why is this so hard, for the 100th time. That's the rep. Every time you notice a retype, you're wearing a new groove. The first 100 times it feels forced. Somewhere around the 1000th, the new question starts arriving on its own, unbidden, the way the old poison used to. That's the day your assumptions have quietly changed underneath you. You'll know it's working when a setback hits and your first internal question surprises you. Instead of "why me?" you hear "what now?" You didn't decide it in the moment. It just rose up, because you trained the scout to look for trails instead of predators. That shift is everything. It means the machine that runs beneath your thinking finally works for you. There's a cost to this, and honesty demands I name it. Once you know the question is the command, you lose the comfort of blaming the world for what your mind keeps finding. You can't ask, "Why does life hate me?" and pretend you didn't place the order. The freedom is real, so is the responsibility. From here on, every search your mind runs has your fingerprints on the keyboard. So pay attention to what you've been asking. Not the goals you announce, the questions you mutter when no one's listening, when the bill arrives, when the phone stays silent, when you catch your reflection and look away. Those quiet questions are the prayers your mind actually answers. They're writing your life in a language you forgot you were speaking. The good news isn't that this is easy, it's that you've been doing it all along, running searches, accepting answers, mistaking them for fate. You were always the one at the keyboard. You just typed with your eyes closed. Open them. Ask better. Your mind is already searching for the answer to whatever you asked it last. So make the next question one worth living inside.